that players really like in that deck.
Yep. And Tiddler, switching small things. I was kind of expecting him to be the one bringing a different set of decks, just because usually, you know, the metagame in Asia can be somewhat different. But I guess at BlizzCon he didn't bring anything too surprising either. They're small things. I mean, he's running a Wild Pyro, I think, in his Druid. Just one-offs here and there that may not be the most common thing.
Yeah. Tiddler also brought Paladin and Warlock, which we don't see in too many of the other decks today. There is one other Paladin maybe, but the Hand Warlock deck that he brought, it's kind of a standard Hand Warlock deck, but nobody else has been using that type of deck, so it should be interesting to say the least.
Yep, it should. So we're about ready to hop into the first game. Are we Gucci? Yeah? Okay, and this is a pre-recorded match, by the way, for anyone wondering. The rest of the matches will be live today here. But for this one, just to accommodate to the players' time zones, really, we pre-recorded it. So we're jumping into it. We have no idea how the match went. And we're ready to go.
Let the hunt begin.
So we have Amaz playing Hunter and Tiddler playing Rogue, which should be an interesting match. It can definitely go either way. There's not like a clear-cut favorite.
Yeah. Mulligans his entire hand, understandably so. Now, is it a clear... I guess a lot of minions have 1 HP, but then again the Rogue has to hit him with his face to clear them. So the hero power not as great as perhaps maybe a mage would be.
Yeah, the Rogue definitely takes the early damage, and then the Hunter will probably just try to bleed him out later, but the Rogue has plenty of ways to land a big kill on one of the 5 or 6 mana turns, so could be the strategy for this match. I know Amaz's deck is a very aggressive Hunter deck, but he's opted for almost no 1-drops. He's just gotten most of the charge in there. So we can see this punishing him a little. He didn't have a 1-drop right at the start, and because the Rogue had the coin, he would not have been able to hero power and kill it right away. So if he had had a Leper Gnome on that opening draw, it could have been a lot better for him.
Yeah, definitely. And Leper Gnome is really the only real 1-drop that he's running, aside from Abusive Sergeant, which you don't really want to play on turn 1.
Yeah. I've seen it played before, though. It always looks sad, but still a 1-drop sometimes.
Yeah. So Mr. Spider coming here, and there's a Knife Juggler in hand, so that's always a nice setup.
Yeah, that Haunted Creeper is kind of the most difficult creature for a Rogue to remove this early. It's not something that can just die to a single attack, so it'll be frustrating. Maybe he'll ignore it completely even.
Options.
Yeah. We'll see how Tiddler handles the situation. He's wearing the same hoodie that he wore at BlizzCon, by the way.
Really?
I think so, yeah.
That's some star knowledge right there, cats.
Yeah. Well, that hoodie's amazing, man. Did you see that hoodie? And the pants? No?
I didn't particularly.
Oh, okay,
know.
well, yeah. It's
He has
huge,
pants
man.
to match.
It's a big play.
Job's done.
So Violet Teacher, really quick, he coined that out. Didn't get any recruits off of it, but an Explosive Trap is kind of an interesting choice here. He might just be playing it for damage because he didn't have anything else that fit his curve, but it doesn't really do anything to the Teacher. Looks
Yeah,
like
do you think he was trying... Like, he only played a Hunter Creeper so far. Do you think he was trying to represent a different trap just to prevent the Violet Teacher from attacking? Perhaps, like, if it was Freeze, for example?
Yeah, that definitely could be the case. I mean, we saw that Tiddler took the bait there, right? He thought maybe it was freezing, and he just completely lost his deckhand because of that choice.
Yeah. If he didn't have the deckhand, though, maybe he would have just, you know, passed. And that would have been pretty good for Amaz, potentially. You fill the board with 1/1s and then pass, and then you got an Explosive Trap. That's gotta feel pretty good.
Well, yeah, exactly. If he had waited to try to get a 1/1 to take the freezing, and then all of them would have died to the explosive, that would have been pretty disastrous. This is definitely a great turn for Amaz, though. Juggler, 4 hounds. It'd be interesting to see what he actually chooses to do with the hounds.
Yeah.
Kills the teacher, ignores the SI agent. So certainly he was afraid of the teacher, but he doesn't actually want to fight for board control. He's got all those charge creatures in his hand looking really pretty right now for constant damage.
Yeah, he didn't really have the... Oh, wow, the top deck. He didn't, unfortunately, have the means to clear the Bolt Dude, unless he, you know, sacked his own Knife Juggler, which you rarely want to do, I'd imagine.
Yep. Well, I mean, yeah, that top deck was pretty good to get the backstab there. Tiddler's hand's looking pretty thin, but he has healing, which is certainly what he wants to have in this match, so if he could get a sprint maybe to go with that prep, he's in pretty good shape, I'd say.
Yeah, Sprint would be fabulous. But
Yep.
we'll see. Amaz, of course, doesn't know what those cards are, so...
Yeah, Maz is going to be very unhappy once he sees the heal bot come down, probably. But he has just a substantial amount of damage. Let's see if we do some math here. He's got the kill command. Well, it depends on how much he steady shots, really. Although it looks like he's actually going to kill a creature with the kill command, which kind of surprises me.
A little bit, with his opponent already being so... or having taken so much damage already.
It does look like kind of a good choice, though, because he won't... If he denies himself from taking much damage, then he has plenty of time to draw more charge creatures and fill up what he needs to end the game.
Yep. And another backstep here. Was it a... I mean, he knows that's going to be an explosive trap probably at this point, right?
Yeah, he would suspect. I'm fairly certain that's the only trap Amaz is running to, so
Yep.
should be explosive. He has the choice now to trade those hounds and make it so that Tiddler essentially has no creature that could attack him, which seems like a pretty good move here.
Yeah, that was a bit of a surprising part. I guess he could have gotten rid of the explosive before playing the heal bot. Do you think that would have been better?
Yeah, that could have been better if he had attacked with the SI agent after backstabbing and before heal botting. Then the SI agent would have taken the hit and the heal bot wouldn't be able to die here, which does look like a superior play to me.
Yeah, and you get rid of the trap as well. So that's always nice. I guess he doesn't have too many minions anyway in his hand to worry too much about that trap. But things are looking okay for Amaz here.
Yeah, he's running out of time, but I think Leroy might be a nice choice because he has the explosive trap so that the whelps would never be able to attack him.
He is running out of time indeed. Okay.
Wow.
Pretty passive play from Amaz.
To me, that screams a bold play. He chose not to weaken the creatures, so he's expecting that Tiddler does not have something like a fan of knives to effectively clear the board without using his creatures.
Yeah, and he's going to be correct.
Yeah, not a lot in Tiddler's hand right now. The
Yeah,
oil
Tiddler
could be,
really needs the draw now.
if he used the oil and the poison this turn, his weapon would be 6, so that's quite a substantial amount. It's probably just the move here is go all the damage you can before you're going to end up dead.
Yeah, that's probably a decent play. Oh, why did he attack first? I guess he's not... What?
Oof. He better hope that hits the...
Wow.
Wow.
What?
That was quite fortunate.
I'm a little bit confused. That had to be a misplay, right? There's...
He probably suspected that it was a trap other than explosive, or at least he had really hoped for it to be freezing to get the heal bot frozen and replay that.
Yeah, and Amaz has to kill him or die now. Yeah.
I don't think he can he? He has 14 by the looks of it, using both the Arcane Golem and Leroy. So...
So Amaz is gonna fall 1 damage short, unfortunately.
Wow. 15. Wow, that was that's a heartbreaking loss to lose to that 1 damage. I think choices were certainly made there, though. The choice not to use the hounds on the 3 health creatures seems really suspect to me. You would want to make sure that those creatures couldn't attack, right? And by allowing that to happen, he got hit for 9 damage with the oil and the heal bot hitting him. Could have gone differently, to be sure.
The fact that Tiddler attacked first, even though it reads as a mistake because we can see the both player hands. I mean, maybe Amaz was trying to represent a different trap, because if it was an explosive trap, you would expect them to hit the minions, right? For like 1 damage each.
Yeah,
So
very true.
That may have been what Amaz was trying to represent again, and it ended up, I mean, almost working out. What if the sharp sword oil hits the other minion? Can Amaz stay alive another turn?
I think yeah, Amaz would have had 1 health left. If the oil hadn't struck him, he would have had 3 health more, and he could have cleared the board, and the weapon would do 6, so he would be at 7. Definitely different plays could have been made on both sides, but Tiddler won that one, so all credit to him.
All credit to him. My mind is blown.
The traps. I mean, from our perspective, those traps look so obvious, right? But certainly that's the focus of the mind games in a match like that.
Yeah, I mean, Amaz wasn't particularly fast to play his entire hand or anything like that. I mean, he was holding onto those charged minions for quite a while as well. And his first minion to drop was the spider, skipping at turn 1 as well. I mean, it's hard to make the read that it's a face hunter.
Yeah, for sure. It did look like a different hunter deck in many ways off the start. I think the second trap, you know, you might be more suspicious it's explosive, but he hoped for the healing back, because that would have been spectacular if he got to heal again.
Yeah. All right, we're about ready to go into game 2. We Gucci? You ready?
Yep.
Sweet. And here we go.
Begin.
What are they gonna bring out?
Yeah, production.
not
I
showing.
have a...
Game 2
cannot
is not showing. Everyone panic.
All right,
Oh no,
I can see it.
we got it. Nope.
Well, yeah, you guys can see it, but nobody else can see it.
Okay. Everyone in the stream panic right now.
You could narrate it for us beautifully, Cats.
I could try my best.
Or
I've
is
been
it
told my
paused?
voice is very soothing. There we go. Panic is over. And this is gonna be game 2 between Amaz and Tiddler Celestial. Amaz choosing to stick with a hunter deck, and Tiddler Celestial is gonna bring out his druid.
It seems like Hunter is one of the most popular classes in this tournament format. I think just because you expect that it will get a win somewhere along the way with all the other heavy control decks being used when you play something so aggressive that certainly you could pull off something. It's nice to see he got the Leper Gnome this time too, so he's off to a better start already.
Yeah, great start. I mean, when you're cutting that many 1-drops, a Leper Gnome is, you know, the dream.
Yeah.
And yeah, Tiddler Celestial, on the other hand, this druid, really pretty standard, aside from the Wild Pyromancer, which we don't see as often anymore.
Yeah, it's the double combo version, which we could see he has the 2 Force of Natures, so not holding back anything on his burst damage. As far as combo opening goes, this is pretty spectacular against a hunter. He had the ability to use the coin and hero power the Leper Gnome, and now he's got the Innervate Keeper on the board. He drew a swipe, which was fantastic. Didn't even have to trade the Keeper for the boar. Has a second Keeper lined up.
Yeah,
Of
and
course.
he knows what kind of hunter it is as well. I mean, the keepers are not gonna be. You're not gonna need to silence anything too badly. So, throwing them on the board like this is pretty good.
I must safeguard the
Yeah,
Yeah.
even an empty board, I like that.
Yeah, I like that as well. He knows that he has to kind of win a race here, so applying as much pressure as possible. It might have been incorrect now that we see something silenceable, but it's still giving him an ability to trade.
Yeah, is that the only minion that needs silencing here?
I think, honestly, almost all of the hunter minions are vulnerable to the keeper, but it's not necessary. There are plenty of other ways to kill something like a Haunted Creeper, or even just ignore it by the looks of what he's doing here.
Yeah. That's what I like to do. I hate spiders, man. I just ignore them. Sometimes
Yeah,
I
it's
call
only
Rob
one.
and I'm like, Rob, there's a spider in my room.
It's only one spider, so certainly he can stand to ignore that.
I actually
But
paid a housemate yesterday to kill a spider. $10.
using that esports money, eh?
$10, man. Hey, Canada. I love Canadian accents, man. But yeah, Tiddler taking a lot of damage, down to 10. He's got to make something happen here. He does have that beautiful swipe.
Yeah, that swipe is looking just gorgeous right now. 10 damage, I mean, you know, it's possible he can do 10 damage, but Tiddler is keeping up really well at pushing the aggression so that he can kill Amaz before Amaz has the ability to win, because he knows that at some point here he's going to die. He has like 5 healing. As long as he can actually get Amaz to trade, though, there's no way he would lose. Which kind of looks like the case here.
Yeah, so Amaz now in trouble. That swipe was the dream, really. No other card in Hearthstone would have been better to have.
Well, he does have the Pyromancer. He didn't have a spell to play with it, but he had that second option available in his deck for kind of a tech choice.
True.
And yes, Force of Nature will give him the win here. That's 12 damage, so
Quick game number 2.
Amaz has to be getting a little frustrated. I'm not a faithful Amaz watcher, but he seems like more of a control-oriented player. Hunter is just somewhat of an auto-include because you expect it to get a win. So to start off 2 losses in a row, you have to be questioning, do I really want to play Hunter again? I still have to win a game with it at some point.
Yeah. Tiddler looks puzzled, by the way. It's like thinking every turn. It's insane. But yeah,
He's doing a good job, so
he's
certainly
doing a
his
fantastic
thinking.
job. So, just about ready to hop into game 3, boys. Hopefully. And if not, we
This-
can always panic. There's always that. So, but yeah, this shouldn't be an issue past this match, of course, as this was pre-recorded. And it looks like we're Gucci.
These games are certainly much more efficient when we don't have to wait for the players to organize between each match.
And Amaz switching it up.
So we get to see Tiddler's Hand Warlock deck here, which I think is probably the only Warlock we're seeing today, although I didn't quite get through all the decks. It's definitely an unusual choice to be playing Hand Warlock in the current metagame, even on the ladder. It's very rare to see it. I think it's been weakened a bit by the fact that almost everyone will have a big game Hunter in their deck. But
Yeah, definitely.
certainly in this situation against a Mech Mage, I think it's a pretty reasonable choice. The Mech Mage is relying a lot on their opening draw to get enough damage in to kill quickly.
So important cards in this matchup are going to be things like Hellfire, and even more than that, perhaps Shadow Flame for Tiddler.
Yeah, some type of area of effect for sure. And it looks like he has none yet, so that's got to be a bit saddening. We have a huge Mech Warp return.
I thought you were going to say
possible.
that's going to be a bitch. And then I was like, dude, language.
I do my best to keep it civil.
Yeah. But yeah, Amaz.
What to do?
So this is some of the most decision Amaz gets to make here. There's a large number of possibilities. He can coin Blast Mage, go for the instant pressure, use the Mech Warper, and play... Which mechs does he even want here?
Yeah, I like this choice. I like the Piloted Shredder. Just because, you know, it survives the AoE, the potential Hellfire, Shadow Flame coming up, and outputs 4 damage.
Yeah, he was definitely looking at how do I not lose everything to Hellfire, but unless that was the card that Tiddler just drew on the end there, it looks like he could have flooded even more and been in a position for almost lethal. Mirror Entity is quite potent in this match, but it does have some specific counters. Things like the Ancient Watcher is just not useful at all to the Mech Mage, so if Tiddler is saving that properly, he can avoid the pain of the Mirror Entity on a larger creature. And he gets an Ancient Watcher even as as I say that, Amaz now has a creature that does absolutely nothing for him on the board.
That's unfortunate. Chooses to attack. He was contemplating the threat of Molten Giant, perhaps. Chooses to attack, and yeah, I mean, he really needs. Amaz really needs the burst. He really needs to draw into those fireballs.
Yeah, any spell here, like you just want some type of application of damage in your hand to look forward to. He certainly has enough creatures down right now, though.
Yeah, but it's getting dangerous. I mean, that board is eventually going to get cleared, and more so with Tiddler going for the very passive plays with the Belcher. It's kind of like saying, "Go play more minions." You know, I'll get rid of them soon.
Yeah. Tiddler is definitely in a bit of a panic. Oh, this board's getting very scary. Oh, finally. Does he... If he Hellfires, he'll still damage himself, and I don't think it kills the Drake. So yeah, he'll go Shadow Flame to make sure that the Drake dies. But he uses up his way to take a Mirror Entity really well there.
Mm-hmm. Amaz.
More creatures.
Yeah, the Mirror Entity is nice. What do you want to put down on the board with a Mirror Entity like this? I guess the Owl?
Yeah, the Owl. There's just nothing to silence, so it's a good play here. But not what you want it to be doing. You want to be playing a Mountain Giant so you could give it Taunt next turn.
Yeah.
Then by playing the Owl, the Mountain Giant originally cost 5 mana, but because he had to play the Owl first, it made the Mountain Giant cost 6 mana, and then he was 1 mana off being able to do that on the same turn.
Misplay, you think?
No, there was no way he could do it because he had to play the Owl first, and then that changes the cost.
Oh, true, yeah.
No fear of Molten Giants. Right to 9 HP.
Yeah. Do you think he's made a read that there's no Molten Giants here?
I think he just doesn't really care at this point. He's willing to see if there is one. If there was 2 and a taunt, it could have been game over, but...
Oh, Fireball, what a nice draw.
He has 8 on the board, 7 in his hand. So not quite enough. He's 2 damage off.
Closing in, though.
I think Tiddler's play there was actually really interesting. A lot of the result of this match is going to come down to what the Hand Warlock chooses to play, because they have more options in their hand. He could have also done a taunt last turn with the Twilight Drake, which would have been a really safe on-board play, but he went with the heal.
Yeah. Do you like clearing the Owl here? I mean, I know it's 2 damage and I can get rid of a minion, but you're pretty much saying if you don't have any AoE, I win, right? So isn't it better to just damage face instead?
Yeah, I don't know. I think probably that choice was open. I think I would have damaged face, but certainly Peggle is not what you want to see. Despite that, it doesn't matter.
It don't matter. It don't
Amaz's
matter.
hand.
And there's the
and
Frostbolt as well.
Even
Chooses
drew
to
more.
conceal information, and Amaz is going to put one on the board with a Mech Mage.
Those were
Alright,
with
the comeback is real.
virtually the worst possible outcomes from the Shredder, right? We had an Ancient Watcher and Nat Peggle. And despite that, Amaz still
Don't
took
diss
the
Nat
victory.
Peggle, man. He was once a glorious minion.
Yes. Before, when he drew a card on the start of your turn, he was quite spectacular. Or, no, on the end of your turn, right? Because you would play him and get the card on the same turn you played him.
Yeah, that would be a lot better, or was a lot better. Was it broken? I guess it was kind of broken.
Yeah, probably, just because it's like something you have to deal with right away. Those types of cards are never very fun when you're pressured immediately in the game to have a reaction.
Yep.
Like the Undertaker. Did you play against many Undertaker's cats?
Yeah, unfortunately. I never played Undertaker, though. I kept my dignity intact.
That's good.
Yeah.
Even as a priest? There was some priest decks
Okay, I
with
mean, I did
Undertaker.
play a little bit of Undertaker, but like not like
The
super
truth
cancer
comes out.
Undertaker, you know, like Mildly Cancer Undertaker. But
Yeah, fair enough.
I think we're Gucci, and we're ready to hop into the next match.
So
It's gonna be a
it's-
Paladin. He's got to set it up again.
All right, it's
Everyone
2-1
panic.
right now, I think.
2-1, yeah. Tiddler leads
Tiddler
the way.
is in the lead.
That is correct.
So we still have to see Amaz win with that Hunter deck, but it looks like he's staying away from it for now. Maybe he'll pull it out at the last minute.
Victory on deck.
Yeah.
Hope for more luck. Let me look at Amaz's warrior deck. I think this was one of the more spectacular warrior decks we see today.
I would call it spectacular. I mean, Bomb Lobber on the opening hand already is spectacular. But,
Yeah, I've actually
choose
seen
to-
quite a few of the tournament warriors have been using Bomb Lobber, whereas you don't see it very much on the ladder. Amaz has a Crush in his deck, which is a 7-mana removal that turns into a 3-mana removal when the warrior has a minion that is damaged. So
I have a
very
crush on Amaz
specific-
right now.
Fair enough. I think a lot of people do. He's definitely one of the favorites.
Yeah.
We also have, like, I mean, you expect most warrior decks to have a lot of late game, but we have Ysera, we have Sneed's Old Shredder, just some choices. Ysera's not so common in the warrior decks, especially in the tournament decks, so be hopeful that we get to see that played this game.
Yeah, let's hope so. And not much going on in the game. Meanwhile, Tiddler played Mind Control tech. Not much use for that in this matchup.
Yeah. Yeah, warriors very rarely play enough creatures. This is definitely one of the highest skill matchups that I have experienced. Warrior versus Paladin. Both players have a ton of choices each turn, and the games come down to such close outcomes of a single card being the difference between victory or defeat.
Yeah, I really enjoy matchups like this. I play a lot of Priest. I really enjoy Priest against Warrior. It often goes to fatigue. And this is a similar matchup, so you gotta make every card count and every card be as efficient as possible.
Yeah, it's definitely those longer matches. You're trying for the value, right? It feels like a real game of cards at that point.
Yeah, definitely. Like, you really need your Sneeds to get something like a Ragnarok, Otherwise,
Yeah.
yeah.
If you get Pagel,
If you get Pagel, that ain't
not
no
gonna be
bueno.
good. Well, this is a really uncomfortable board to deal with. He has all that armor, but he doesn't have a shield slam, and he's about to lose it. So that's a bit depressing.
Yeah. If you don't use it, you lose it. Recombobulator. Pretty good.
It's a decent,
Pretty good.
yeah, 3-2 is not bad. You see the Crush in Amaz's hand. So Crush is essentially Assassinate, but it costs 2 mana more, and then when you meet the situation requirement, it costs 2 mana less.
Yeah. And I'm gonna give
certain-
a shout out here to Fibonacci. Do you know who Fibonacci is, dude?
Yeah, I do. I have him on my friends list.
Yeah.
He's a warrior god, as
He's a
someone say.
warrior god. Yeah. Kind of one of those underground warrior gods that only plays warrior and sometimes makes decks a lot like this one. I've seen him share decks with Osaka and whatnot, and he runs things like Crush.
Yeah, he's always hanging around on the ladder playing warrior. You never see him playing anything else.
Yeah.
Warrior is certainly one of those classes where there's a lot more player choice that can go into it. I think a lot of people will make a warrior deck and think there are these cards you automatically have to include, but there's quite a bit of variety that you can put into such a late game deck.
Definitely. Needs. Is it gonna get ignored? Is it gonna get one damage? Yeah. Mr. Aldor's Peacekeeper. I think it's gonna get ignored. Dude.
So I don't know. This is a very interesting situation. We have Tiddler is just flooding the board completely right now.
Where is
Amaz
the brawl?
Yeah, Amaz has all these creatures and good cards, but nothing to actually help him at all to deal with what's currently in front.
Yeah. He's gonna go for the Death Bite here. And yeah, I mean the Death Bite, it doesn't look too promising right now. It will kill one minion. when it goes off.
I think if he could deal with the Dr. Boom that's currently in Tiddler's hand, he should be alright. I mean, he has so many large creatures that Tiddler will not be able to kill them all. But
Yeah.
the problem is the Dr. Boom is one of those cards that does just a ridiculous amount of damage. 14 some odd damage if everything hits you in the face. And that's exactly what Tiddler wants right now, is to kill him quickly.
Yeah, I mean, Dr. Boom is basically the reason we don't see a lot of handlocks anymore. So he's quite powerful. And there
Yeah.
he is. But there is a crash on Amaz's hand. And a shield slam now, a little bit too late.
Yeah, he's lost all that armor. He even shield blocked last turn, right? So he can get a... the Whirlwind will give the Acolyte a draw, and it would also... The Whirlwind from the weapon would give the Acolyte a draw, and it would pop the bombs, which could hit the Acolyte as well and give him quite a few more cards
And the
than he
Sneeds
currently
too,
has.
right? Like the Sneeds could maybe
Yeah.
make a Kel'Thuzad or something. Something
For
nice,
sure.
you know?
Tyrion would be
Tyrion,
pretty
yeah.
spectacular.
Yeah. Crush.
It's quite the animation.
Yeah. That's why you play it, man. And here we go.
Alright.
Oh.
Well, those were pretty forgiving. So, Tiddler still has the weapon. I think Amaz should be okay here, even if he gets...
Oh no!
Oh, wow.
Even if he gets... What was... Please finish your sentence on hot form.
That's,
Please.
yeah, pretty unfortunate. At least Shield Slam isn't useful to the Paladin, but as the creature goes, that's about the
jinxed him,
worst.
Even if he gets...
Oh, man. And Tiddler had nothing, but here Tyrion shows up off the top. What a
Yeah.
beautiful play. He would be stuck with a zombie chow, which certainly wouldn't have done what he needed it to.
Oh my god, I feel for Amaz right now. The gods are not with him today.
So, I think if he plays the Shield Maiden... Well, let's see, there's 2 Consecrates. If he plays the Shield Maiden, armor's up, he's going to be at 14. He's going to take 8 plus 4. So, he could live with 2 health here, but it doesn't help him deal with the board at all.
I can take the hit.
Yeah,
And
it's
if he
definitely a
was-
tough position here. Does he
if
have
he
any
was-
silence in this deck?
Let me check. If he was to do anything to try to remove the Tyrion shield, it pretty much guarantees his death on this turn. No, he does not have a silence. He does not have a Black Knight either, so there's nothing that he could top deck that's a strong removal against that, really.
Yeah.
The Crush would have been fantastic here.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess he's gonna need that, need to somehow try to stay alive and then hope for a Harrison Jones. Or something.
Even just, yeah, killing the Tyrion is not easy. The Divine Shield, as a warrior, to remove that is one of the most difficult classes because you have all these big hitters that you don't want to throw anything at a Divine Shield, really.
Yeah. Tyrone is insane, dude. Is it like the best legendary, you think?
Oh,
It's
Tyrion?
gotta be up there. Yeah. I call him
it's-
Tyrone.
He's definitely, like, as a body on the board, he's pretty reasonable, but his main strength is the 15 damage from the Ashbringer is game-ending in almost every match.
Yeah, I mean, you have to silence it, right? And then it's still a 6/6 body.
So, yeah, I don't think he can live here. He could kill the Tyrion by using Grom and an Execute, but then he gets the Ashbringer. He would
he
only
looks pretty
take
good.
4. Yeah. I think he could have lived with 1 health, but of course there were the 2 Consecrates, so that would have just ended up killing him anyways.
Yeah. So, with this Tiddler, it's going to go up to 3-1. And next up is going to be match point, potentially.
Yeah.
At least Tiddler is on match point. So, what is the deck that Tiddler has left? Let's see.
Did he play mage already?
I think it's a rogue.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
he played the rogue before, but he didn't.
He played the rogue.
Is that what? Yeah, he lost the rogue versus mage matchup, correct?
I'll trust you on that.
I mean, I think so. No, we Gucci, Rob. Okay, I think we're about ready to go.
It looks like
Rob
it's
has
the
to fix it
warlock,
again.
just based on the screen I saw there.
It is warlock.
Did he lose the
he lose the
warlock
warlock?
match? What was his warlock against? I guess it was. Oh, it was warlock against mage. Yes, he lost that one.
Oh,
Amaz got
okay.
the ancient watcher, but then he had a fireball for the lethal.
correct, yeah. All right, and Amaz choosing to go for the warrior again. This time gets the brawl, but I mean,
This is another really intriguing match. So if this is the last game, certainly it will be a good one. Hand warlock versus warrior is not something that either player has any clear choices. Maybe you could consider the mountain giant a clear choice, but even that's questionable because you don't want to play it into a board that will kill it immediately.
for sure. He actually mulliganed the weapon. That's interesting. The 3/2 weapon. What's it called?
Oh, the
Fireworks.
war axe.
Yeah, I'm really bad with names.
Yeah, I guess that kind of makes sense. This would be probably one of the only matches you would ever consider getting rid of that weapon, since it's one of the most powerful 2-drops.
Yeah, and it's one of those 2-drops that every warrior gets every time on turn 2.
Yeah, it's very hard to combat the stats of the war axe. You're getting 6 damage for 2 mana, and it's split, so if it was just like a 6 damage, 1 attack weapon, that wouldn't be very useful on turn 2.
Chooses to play it, but not attack with it.
So Twilight Drake is certainly what you want to be doing first as the warlock, because it takes the same removal for the warrior to kill it that he would use on a giant, but it's not nearly as good for the warrior to take that out.
Yeah, and you're expecting to go to the long game in this matchup as well. So putting damage to the face not as important perhaps. Though taking care of the armor is, you want to try and
Yes.
keep it low if you can.
Essentially, in the match, the warlock has 1 or 2 creatures beyond what the warrior can remove, but if the warrior is able to use, make like a single trade even, to kill a giant, and then he has enough removal in his deck to kill all the remaining ones. Doesn't look like he has a way to kill that right now, though, and that's going to be quite a problem for him.
I mean, he can with Crush, right?
Oh yeah, that's true. Very good play here. Whirlwind to damage his own guy, and then gets the crush.
Yeah, he could have also used the Cruel Taskmaster if he really wanted to, but then that's, I mean, you already got Grommash, Cruel Taskmaster in hand, and oftentimes, I mean, if you can end the game, then that's fantastic.
Well, I mean, Amaz's hand is good right now, but he can't play anything next turn, so could be pretty awkward.
Yeah, if he draws a Doctor Boom, though, that would be the dream.
Yes, Dr. Boom into Sneed Shredder into Ysera would certainly be pretty spectacular.
Into Grommash combo. He perfect her. But no, it's gonna be a Death Bite. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes face and equips the Death Bite.
Yeah, I could see that being a likely choice. It looked like Tiddler Hellfire there because he had 10 cards in his hand and he didn't have any card he wanted to play.
How do you like that play?
I can't actually tell what the 6-mana creature was in his hand because he didn't need to Mortal Coil, but the Hellfire certainly, I mean, it's not a card you need in this match, so that's fine to throw that away.
Yeah, and Amaz will be equipping the Death Bite here.
Certainly Amaz is happy about that. No creature was played on his most awkward turn. He would have feared a giant above all other things there.
And a giant he gets. Bomb Lobber though. Is this the dream?
Yeah, I mean, the Bomb Lobber would kill it, but I guess he just wants to win.
Yeah,
Can
I
you
can't
win
blame
next
him.
turn?
I mean, he
Yeah, he
still
can.
has that Grommash combo there.
He can use
Heal.
the whirlwind from the weapon, so as long as there's no taunt in the way next turn, or healing, then he can win.
Heal bot though. Top deck heal bot. And the silence on Sneeds. I hate that when they silence Sneeds. It's like,
This
really?
is
Like,
very, very close to death. Sorry to cut you off. He is 1 health off of dying here. Probably Tiddler made that choice consciously, but to consider a single point of damage separating from death, I'm sure Amaz is frustrated at this position. If he was to attack with the weapon, the whirlwind would make Grom do 10, and he would be
I
able to
guess he's
do
1 mana off as
4
well.
plus 5. Yeah, he can't use the Taskmaster.
This is a pricing choice.
Yeah, I like that play.
Seems legit. Do you though? Because now he can't really finish his opponent off next turn.
Yes, he can. He has exact lethal if he Taskmasters the Grom with 12 plus 8 for 20. It's unlikely that Tiddler would allow that to happen. Certainly he knows that's a threat.
Right. Yeah, everything's gonna get cleared now. I don't know. I feel like he could have put Tiddler in a really uncomfortable spot, whereas if he didn't have any taunts, it would be game over. But Doctor, bro, top deck.
So
that
this
the
is
dream?
really
Is that
this
always
is
the
really
dream?
telling here. Will he play the boom or will he play Ysera?
I mean, it's a
guess
tough
it's
call.
Because the boom, he wants the damage. He already has damage in his hand. Dream is really good.
That is
though.
actually the dream.
He will not have the ability to kill him, but that's a card that's fantastic in a match like this.
Oh no. Oh, he's gonna have to end up dreaming his own Ysera back to Tiddler's hand apparently. But now that's, I mean, that's a threat to many. Ysera is gonna be really hard to contest if this goes to the end game. So I think he's gotta look for ways to win here as soon as possible.
Yeah, I agree. I think he already has like a Ragnaros though, so I think dreaming the Ysera was pretty good for Amaz. If he had had a laughing sister and had to leave the Ysera on the board, that could have been absolutely horrible. In this case, he's still posing significant threat.
Yeah, it's looking Gucci. Tiddler playing very cautiously, though. Yeah, extremely cautiously. Heals himself back up to 26 and then taunts everything. That can't feel good. And again, I think that's a really good play because he knows, you know what? Like I have a Ysera on top of everything else that I have. Like, and I've been trading somewhat cost efficiently. So if this goes to the end game, the game should be mine.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely think he recognizes if he gets to play all of those creatures, there should be no way he could lose now. Is the Ysera card in his hand a dream? I believe it is, but it could be a nightmare, right? Because they're
I think
both
it's a
0
dream.
mana.
I think, well, Nightmare's like purple though, right?
All right, I couldn't
It's a
remember
dream.
exactly.
Rob confirms it's a dream.
It's the dream.
The dream indeed.
Well, it's certainly slowed down. I mean, we were just having legendary after legendary there, and Amaz is reduced to just a shield maiden on this turn.
No, interesting dream. But again, I mean, like we talked about, this seems kind of odd. It's like, okay, give your opponent 5 more armor. Although this could be really bad if Amaz gets a shield slam, which he doesn't get.
Yeah, I don't know. There's so many things going on in this match for the players to consider what cards he has in his hand. For example, making sure that the taunt wouldn't die that turn without an extra attack meant that maybe the Ysera wouldn't get executed, or there's so many possibilities. It's really hard to say what's going through the player's mind as a strategy right now.
Yeah, and even baiting a shield slam maybe wouldn't be the worst thing. Again, I think, like you said before, if Tiddler is able to play all these minions and survive until then, there should be a little way for him to lose.
Well, there's a 5/13 taunt in the way, so that's going to be pretty tough. I'm sure Amaz is considering what does he have that can actually kill that. There's one more execute, but he's lost his armor now, so he
Yeah.
could He could use the Grom to kill it, I suppose.
Yeah. Also, one thing that we're not taking into account is the crush, though. That is one more removal than most warriors do have. So maybe, I mean, Isara's already drawn maybe too many cards.
He used the crush already, right?
Yeah, but I mean, regardless, when we were considering options of how the warrior doesn't have enough answers to the perhaps this deck does.
I think because as soon as he stole that Ysera, it becomes far more creatures. He has the Drake now, I'm pretty sure, to play next turn, which is even more
at
creatures.
Point, insane. I don't think you can go for the long game at this point.
He has that one execute, but even that, he'll still have the Twilight Drake in the way, so it's pretty tough. Looks like sludge here, and hope you draw something next turn.
Here and sludge there. Sludge is all over the place.
Well,
okay, he goes for the Drake.
So,
Giant.
in the worst case, he probably could kill that Ysera with the Grom, because the Grom wouldn't die in that attack. It would still have 3 health left. But there's so many creatures now. I'm not sure if it's at all possible for him.
It's looking pretty grim.
Let's see the execute top deck.
Top deck execute.
That's what he's praying for.
And does not get it. Fiery War-Axe. Top deck. We'll see what he's able to do with that. Perhaps some magic.
This is really impressive play from Tiddler. I mean, he knew exactly what he was doing. In a match with that many options, and he took stock of it perfectly. He got so low on health. He was looking at dying repeatedly turn after turn, but he just fought back, and now he's in position of controlling the entire battle. So,
wave after wave, man. Wave after wave.
he respected the Grom threat, played around it, got value, got creatures. Couldn't ask for more.
Heal botted, taunted, draws Dr. Boom. I mean, what? How good can you be to draw Dr. Boom right now?
I don't know if it's very useful.
It's like when already, the casters are already like praising you, and then you draw Dr. Boom. Like, can you be any better of a player?
Yep.
I don't think so. Doesn't even play it. Conceals the Dr. Boom.
His turn was so good, didn't require Dr. Boom.
Yeah.
And so that was a pretty quick series. I mean, I thought Amaz was going to put much more pressure on, but I think those first 2 losses with Hunter probably tilted him a little bit. He just knew that was a deck he was going to have to bring to have the 4 wins required for the Conquest format. It's such a good choice. But to start off losing those 2 in a row, you're running out of options at that point. You can't metagame as well because you don't know what your good choices are anymore. Be a bit frustrating.
Yeah. So unfortunately, for many Amaz fans out there, he's going to be out of the tournament. Fortunately for any Tiddler fans out there, he advances, and there's a ton of Tiddler fans. I mean, look, this guy's got swagger. If you look at the BlizzCon VODs, you'll see it. It's insane. He's wearing the same hoodie as well, so props to him. Congratulations to him. And we're going to take a quick 5-minute break, so please stick around. Next up, though, the god himself, Strifecrow. Do you think he's a god?
I don't think he's a god. I beat him on ladder, but
I beat him on ladder. He's not a god. Like
humble brag.
I beat him on StarCraft. Okay, all the time.
Yeah, I'm sure you would kick my ass at StarCraft.
He's clearly not a god, but he's going up against Liquid's own Nyria, so that should be